Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namini. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so last Friday we just started this Shraddha to Anishtita Bhajana Kriya, and we talked about Raga and Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, and that Raga or Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti both have two leaves, which is Kleshagni and Shubhada, meaning when somebody performs either Raga Bhakti or Vaidhi Bhakti, these two, uh, both these bhaktis have these qualities, Kleshagni and Shubhada. And what is Kleshagni? Klesha means cause of suffering. So, cause of suffering is actually destroyed. And then five kinds of Klesha: Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha, Abhinivesha. And this is these are causes, and these are the different stages of suffering: prarabdha, rudha or kuta, and bija. So basically, when one does bhakti, irrespective whether it is raga or vaidhi, the causes of suffering and the suffering both will end. Hmm. So this is one part. Now second part, shubhada. Shubha means auspiciousness, divine qualities. Shubha or auspiciousness consists of such qualities as disinterest in material affairs. See, this is auspiciousness. Please understand this. This is not like something disconnected or far away from bhakti. So the disinterest in material affairs is auspicious. And when we talk about all these things, people get very worked up, right? Um, but disinterest in material affairs means auspicious. If we still have interest in material affairs, what does it mean? Obviously, the opposite of it, which means that it is ashubha, it is inauspicious. Disinterest in material affairs, interest in the Supreme Lord. Like I've been highlighting time and again, bhakti is very powerful. When we automatically engage ourselves in some aspect of bhakti seriously, automatically the material attachment will go off. It's a side effect. It will just happen. Right? So Shubhada means interest in the Supreme Lord. See very nicely. Friendliness to the Lord. Mhm. Friendliness to the Lord, which means we have to think, oh, how can I serve the Lord nicely? How can I please him? That kind of nature. Friendliness to the Lord. Mercy. Right? This we've been talking about again. Mm, This is a very auspicious quality, wanting to distribute this mercy. So please remember that devotees are the means, medium through which this mercy is distributed. So we should become those instruments. So mercy, wanting to show mercy is a sign of auspiciousness. Forgiveness. Somebody does something wrong. We also do things wrong. So we should forgive. Like I've said before, if you're in a position to correct, we should correct, but we should not hold grudge, hold something, negative against a person. Just forgive. Forgiveness is one of the Prabhupada in Bhagavad Gita says it's a quality of a sadhu. Truth, truth for Krishna consciousness. So lying for Krishna is also truth. Simplicity is very, very important. We should think simple, we should dress simple, we should live simple. We should not have any requirements, any major requirements for living our life. It's okay. I mean, we might come from a rich family, poor family, it doesn't matter. We should just try to live a simple life. Because ultimately we have to remember saying that I might live, see, like Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur showed Yukta Vairagya, right? Used to travel in, he used to wear royal robes, he used to travel in expensive vehicles just to show that he can do that, and he can also sit in a hut, with just simple clothes, nothing, no. So simplicity means not that we have to always live on the, very humbly, but we should just not be attached. And if required, we should be ready to give up that, right? The more like simple, right? I mean, nowadays people have so many gadgets. It's complex. I have some few gadgets for Krishna consciousness, for recording classes, this, that, and all that. Maybe a laptop, a computer, mobile, something to record, etc., etc. Some mic, etc. And it just takes so much of maintenance to just maintain all this. But this is okay because this is in Krishna's service. But if we make our life complex with too many things, too much of complex thinking, etc., then it's not, it's inauspicious for us. Equanimity, whether happiness, distress, good, bad, whatever, always be deal with all these situations equally and continue to remain in Krishna's service. Fortitude is determination, willpower to stick to whatever we are trying to do. Gravity, this is very important. We should not be talking about frivolous things, useless things. Okay, once in a while, we might be in some social situation, etc. Okay, for the pleasure of whatever somebody might have invited us. So to please the host, we might talk casually, but we don't have to talk loosely, about useless things and like a karmi. We should not talk like a karmi. And we can be nice, affectionate, caring. We can do all that, right? I mean, all that is fine. But we don't have to talk. Somebody's talking about some, material things. We also engage like we know so much. No, we should have. There should be gravity in our speech, in the way we deal with people. There should be gravity. Respect. Obviously, we should respect every jiva. Humility. Without humility, we will not respect. So humility and being kind to everyone. Yeah, mercy, kind to everyone. This is understood from the following. So, the yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvair gunes tatra samasate suraha rava bhaktasya kuto mahad guna manorathena sati dhavato bahihi. The devatas constantly dwell with all good qualities, and these are the good qualities. What are those good qualities which have been mentioned above, right? There are no good qualities in the non-devotee who chases after temporary material objects with desire for material pleasure. So we should not be doing this. As devotees, we should not be chasing after temporary material objects, right? And we should not have this desire for material pleasure. There's so much of higher taste, pleasure in Krishna consciousness. That's what we should be hankering for. Is that okay? So this is called Shubhada. When in a devotee's life, all these things start manifesting, which means that it is auspicious. Hmm. Disinterest, material affairs, interest in the Supreme Lord, friendliness to the Lord, mercy, forgiveness, truth, simplicity, equanimity, fortitude, gravity, respect, humility, and being kind to everyone. This means that there is auspiciousness in the life of the devotee. The two splendors of sadhana, see splendors, the destruction of suffering and the appearance of all good qualities. So this Shubhada is appearance of all good qualities. So suffering ends and all good qualities start to appear. And this happens, yeah, this will appear simultaneously. It happens simultaneously. So as the good qualities go on increasing, the suffering keeps on decreasing, right? And vice versa. So so why is this being discussed? We should see this in our life. We should start to see this in our life. Of course, the suffering might take, I mean, it's different for different people. The good qualities might start to appear. We might feel that the suffering is going longer than, but it's not true. I mean, Krishna knows, Krishna is in control. So he knows exactly how much is required, right? But we should obviously start seeing these qualities. If you're not starting to see these good qualities, then there is definitely some issue. Destruction of suffering is fine, is fine, but we are never satisfied with as Even if all our suffering is destroyed, we still won't be satisfied. But a good gauge, unbiased gauge, is to see how much of these good qualities are appearing in us. So these are two splendors of sadhana. Splendors means what? If you have actually done sadhana bhakti properly, then these things should manifest. And that is the reason I keep saying that simply following the rules, simply following the rules. If you want to do bhakti without following rules, we cannot. These splendors will not manifest, right? So if we are following rules strictly, seriously, then obviously these things should happen in a devotee's life. Hmm. No way it will not happen. Bhakti pareshanuභಾವ ವಿರಕ್ತಿರನ್ಯತ್ರ ಚೈಸ ತ್ರಿಕ ಏಕಕಾಲಃ ಪ್ರಪದ್ಯಮಾನಸ್ಯ ಯಥಾಶ್ನತಃ ಸ್ಯುಸ್ ತುಷ್ಟಿಃ ಪುಷ್ಟಿಃ ತುಷ್ಟಿ pushti kshud apayo anughasam. Devotion, direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and detachment from other things. These three occur simultaneously for one who has taken shelter of Krishna. In the same way that pleasure, fullness of the stomach, and relief from hunger are experienced simultaneously with each bite for a person engaged in eating. So, with each bite, what happens? There is pleasure because we are eating. Then, fullness of the stomach starts to get full, and there is relief from hunger. We don't feel hungry anymore. These all happen simultaneously. Similarly, devotion, direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and detachment, these have to happen simultaneously. Devotion means basically we feel like doing more. We feel like serving Krishna and his devotees more. We can't be sitting doing some, twiddling our thumbs, doing some material stuff. We can't. We just can't tolerate it. We feel it's a waste of time. That is devotion. Direct experience of the Supreme Lord. Of course, direct experience doesn't mean that we start seeing the Lord. That is at a very, but direct experience, we are experiencing, for example, we are trying to do some service, Krishna reciprocates. Krishna reciprocates in our life, and we have direct experience of that. Right? And when these are happening, automatically detachment from other things have to happen. These three occur simultaneously. For whom? One who has taken shelter of Krishna. We should understand this shelter of Krishna is very, very important. It's not simply we are just doing some bhakti. We have to take shelter. Taking shelter means what? Anukulya sankalpaha, pratikula savarjanam, rakshishati iti vishvaso, goptate varnam tata, atmanikshepa, karpanya, shadvida sharanagati. 18.66 purport. Please read that. So if somebody has taken shelter of Krishna, automatically, this Bhagavatam verse is saying automatically devotion, direct experience of Supreme Lord, and detachment will happen. Right? So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur here is saying that the destruction of suffering and appearance of our good qualities appear simultaneously. However, just as there is a gradual unfurling of the two leaves in a growing plant, there is also gradation in the disappearance. See, there's a gradation in the disappearance of the undesirable qualities and the appearance of the auspicious qualities. Thus, there is a development of bhakti in sequential stages. So, this is the whole concept of this book. That is, bhakti develops in sequential stages. So, undesirable qualities have to go, good qualities, auspicious qualities have to appear. This happens in sequential stages. Though this is very subtle and difficult to perceive, the intelligent devotees have ascertained this through scrutiny of the various effects. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that it is very subtle and difficult to perceive. We can't make out. But intelligent devotees have ascertained this, and that is what they call as stages of bhakti, stages of advancement. Is this okay?
Pranam Prabhuji, one
Yes,
question
Madhurya.
from the previous page,
Yeah,
when we said you read na two splendors of bhakti.
yeah.
When a Klesha Agni thing happens, it's not always that suffering ends, Prabhuji. It is sometimes our perspective change. We don't see material suffering as suffering. Is it true? Like,
No, no. This one actually suffering ends. This is not a perception
okay,
change. This is actual suffering will end.
okay, the
See, one is
material
ignorance.
suffering.
So, okay, let me just clarify,
Mm,
right? So there are two parts here, right? One is there is cause of suffering. So the cause of suffering is the avidya, ignorance, right? The perception about this world, that even if there is a problem, there is no problem. Right now, we start looking at things differently with a different perspective. This is the causes of suffering start to reduce. But the actual suffering also, which is the stages in the development of sin, the sinful reactions also have to end. Both will happen.
Prabhuji, any example like of the material suffering we
Yeah,
undergo, like
material suffering has to end.
okay, okay, okay,
Material
maybe
suffering has to
disease
end.
or something. Okay,
Sorry,
thank you.
Mataji.
Like I was saying, maybe a disease, the bodily disease or something,
Yeah, yeah,
which is
yeah. Bodily,
it.
mental, bodily,
Mhm.
mental, all our so-called suffering today that we today feel like suffering. One is
Right.
the perception that it is suffering will decrease. That is because the avidya goes on decreasing, right? And
Mm.
these
Yes.
all our causes for suffering will reduce first, right? Which means today, even if there is no suffering, we will create something because of our ignorance, right? That will stop. Second is perception of suffering will also maybe change, and eventually the suffering itself has to stop.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank
Yeah, which is why I said, that might sometimes be take time. Very, we might be, it might be very difficult for us to perceive it, right? Because of various reasons. But Shubhada, the divine qualities we should be able to perceive, irrespective of whether we are suffering, not suffering. We should be able to see these good qualities in us, which is very, very nice actually. I had not known that this enumeration was there for all these good qualities. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is so nicely saying what are those good qualities. So if we want Shubha, uh, people write outside their houses, Shubha Labh. Hmm. Labh, yes. Shubh kya hai? What is Shubh? This is Shubh. If these things are not there in our life, then there is no Shubh. Then there's only material love, which is only suffering. Okay. Anybody else? Anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Mataji.
Prabhuji, like we are talking about love and we are talking about forgiveness also.
Mm-hmm.
Many times in the process of life, you want to forgive, but sometimes
Yeah.
the damage is so much done that you, even after years and years and years, you are pricked by it, and
Yeah.
it's like a bleeding wound. Every time you hear something, you react, and the thorn keeps poking you, and you just cannot forgive that person. In fact, I mean that what first you think, oh, it's my karma, like karam se hua, leave it, bhi chalo. But
Mm-hmm.
afterwards, that slowly that hatred itna develops, that even though you take it as it's come and it's your duty, but then that leads, it's a vicious circle. It leads to one thing after the other, one thing to other. And what devotee or no devotee, Prabhu, it burns. It
Mm-hmm.
really burns. And then probably as you grow in your devotional service also, sometimes you instead of getting humble, you tend to get puffed up. How do you
Mm-hmm.
deal with that?
Yeah. No, I
You
think, see, okay,
senior
theoretical.
devotee, yeah, senior devotee, this devotee, अरे ABCD साला आता नहीं, senior devotee तुम बन गया.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, see, basically, we understand the theory behind this, right? The theory is very clear. The theory is that we should give up this, right? The reality is that we are not able to get over it. Again, see, whenever you have this question, simply I just do this, right? Something that I do all the time. I simply, stop looking at my life from my perspective and simply look up at all the great devotees, starting from say our own gurus, right? And we should look at them and say, are they happy with what I'm doing? Am I pleasing my guru? Am I pleasing our acharyas? Am I pleasing Srila Prabhupada by doing what I'm doing? Fine, I don't have the strength to overcome it. I'm fallen. All that is fine. But see, we have to have we have to look up to something in life, na? He, okay, if I do this, this is good. It's nice. What is that? It's to please somebody. It's a very nice thing actually to please somebody. We do that even on the material platform, isn't it? When somebody comes home, we try to please them by serving them nicely, talking to them nicely, etc., etc. I mean, always I feel this saying that, Prabhupada is saying this, our Gurus are saying, senior Vaishnavas are saying, can I just try to at least please them? Can that be the reason for, see, it just simply means two things, right? One is like I keep saying, see, the answer to all questions is just our sadhana. I cannot overemphasize this. What we have not been able to experience is the power of our sadhana. And that is what actually this is saying, the two splendors of sadhana. So if we actually do our sadhana well, we will actually see all this going. We should see all this going. But unfortunately, our problem is, we are not focusing on our sadhana. And obviously, these other things remain. This Shubha remains in our life. It's all Ashubha. So, so to be able to do sadhana nicely, same thing. Do I have the self motivation? No. Okay. Can I hold on to somebody? Can somebody pull me up? One thing. Second thing is, can I, by developing these qualities, if I develop these qualities, will my Guru Maharaj be happy? Will Srila Prabhupada be happy? Will our acharyas be happy? Obviously, yes. Can I try to please them? For their pleasure, can I try? We have to have some motivation in life. If we don't have any reason at all to do bhakti, see, this is one thing we have to understand. We should have a reason. There should be a reason. Of course, it's not a selfish reason. The reason has to be to please Guru and Krishna. If we are wanting to please Guru and Krishna, why will we not bring about changes in our life? Because we are just looking at ourselves. We have to change our vision from my view of things to my Guru's view of things, to Srila Prabhupada's view of things, to senior Vaishnava's view of things. Where do I stand? And can I please them? Yes, I'm unqualified, but can I please them? Can I try to please them? So that something has to inspire us, something has to motivate us to do bhakti, to push ourselves, to overcome these things. Because we should understand, if I can't overcome these things, then I can't achieve whatever I'm setting out to achieve. I can't achieve. And I can't, I mean, for in my own life, right? I can't just see me failing, as in, like not achieving the goal here. A material thing, it doesn't matter, right? Yes, okay, if I achieve it, I achieved. If I didn't, I didn't. But I cannot think of failing here. I cannot think of coming back to this miserable material world here. I cannot think of be having a life without bhakti. When I think about all this, I say, oh my God, I mean, this is enough inspiration, the reason for me to actually push myself harder, harder. So we have to have some reason. I mean, see, without having a reason, why are we going to do anything? So we have to find that reason in our life. And my own personal, this one is just trying to please Guru and Krishna, because when they get pleased, when Guru is pleased, Krishna is pleased. Right? That's all. That's all the motivation is. And that motivation has to be much bigger than this, small, whatever, irritants that are there in our life, Ashubha things, inauspicious things that are there in our life. And of course, devotee association, I'm highlighting that a lot, right? And for me, actually, devotee association for me has been simply Prabhupada. Simply Prabhupada. I'll say even more than my own Guru Maharaj. For me, it's just been from day one. It's just Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Right? And I feel association with Prabhupada through his books, through what he has written, through his words, through his statements, through everything. And it's so powerful. Simply so powerful. Of course, if we are not, if that doesn't have to be the only source of association, only source of inspiration. We can also associate, get inspired, look at our gurus, see how they are serving, what they expect from us. So, I mean, basically the point I'm making is there has to be something that is motivating us, that is inspiring us to go forward from where we are. Because this is not what different, how different am I? from somebody else who's also having all these feelings. What difference does it make? So, I mean, should I be similar to everybody else I know in this world? And this is how people are dealing with everybody else. So I would definitely want to disassociate myself or not be identified as one of them. That's also a motivation for me. So we have to have some motivations for ourselves to push ourselves. Otherwise, yeah, this condition, this nature, we can keep, yeah, we can keep getting stuck there. Yeah, if anybody has any thoughts.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat
Yeah,
Pranam.
Dandavat Mata.
Prabhu, it's not similar, but my mother has a question here actually.
Aha, Mataji,
She
Dandavat to your mother first.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat
Hare
Pranam,
Krishna,
Prabhu.
Dandavat Mataji. Yeah.
she has been having this in her mind for a while actually. She in her own family relation who had cheated her very badly, I mean in some other issues, and now they are doing tivra bhakti, matlab everything, following very rigidly, and
Okay, very nice.
yeah. So, but that cheating has been affected for my mother for a very long time, and even now she's suffering because of that. So she thinks, does bhakti mitigate all the sins that we have committed earlier?
Ah, yeah,
And
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there's no question at all.
okay,
Bhakti destroys everything. See, Krishna doesn't see. Krishna, that is why he's saying Sarva Dharman Parityaja means Krishna is saying, don't worry. I am not destroying everything. Right? But what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he gave shelter to Jagai and Madha, he said, don't further sin. That's all he said. He didn't, if somebody had to, like Yamaraj says that I have to create new hells to punish them. Existing hells are not sufficient for the kind of sins that Jagai and Madai had done. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just said, saying that everything is gone. Everything is gone. You got the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, so everything is gone. But don't sin further. Don't live a sinful life further. Right? Of course, when we do sins, even when we are in the process of bhakti, it's not considered same as karma phala, or it's not treated similar to a normal sin, um, because Krishna is now personally taking care of us. But he will punish us just to make sure that we will get over those anarthas that we have. But yeah, they cannot be seen as normal sin.
adding to that, she says, so if we are suffering for whatever others have done in the past, and now that they are devotees, she says, is it because of our karma that we are suffering because of them?
Okay. So again, see this, why a devotee suffers is a very difficult question to answer. So let me put it this way. If there is actually real suffering versus there is something just in the mind, first thing, right? If it is just suffering, real suffering, for example, somebody is actually going through some bodily suffering, right? Versus somebody is just thinking that they are suffering, meaning, or it is something of the past. We are holding on to some incidents, etc., happened in the past. That is just a mental thing. The other one is a physical thing, the bodily thing and mental thing. The Krishna, if we have surrendered to Krishna, so I'm using this if a devotee has surrendered to Krishna, Sarvadharman Parityaja, Krishna has taken away all his sins. Okay. Then there's no question of suffering being a result of our past sin. Then that suffering is just Krishna's mercy to get us out of some attachment that we have, which is preventing us from making progress. Right? So that one thing possibly is preventing our progress. So Krishna wants to take it away. That attachment that we have, right? This same thing, right? Like for example, whatever it is, it's just false ego. Somebody cheated us before, that is our karma phala. And why are we just holding on to it? So that's just a result of false ego, right? So that we are holding on to something. And Krishna doesn't want that because we are sincere. We are trying to sincerely serve him, right? So Krishna doesn't want it. So Krishna will create situations for us such that we end up giving it up. We have to give it up. Krishna wants us to give it up. So we cannot say that it's just because of our karma. But if we are not fully surrendered, then it could be anything. So it depends. Like I won't be, but I'm just saying I can't specifically answer your mother's question, but I'm just giving a general direction, saying that if Krishna says Sarvadharman Parityaja, everything is removed. Otherwise, it depends. It's difficult to say.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
okay.
Dandar Prabhu, it's clear,
Yeah.
Prabhu.
Yeah. In fact, actually, the whole process of initiation, we have to understand this. Actually, our Acharya say, Diksha Kale Bhakta Kare Atma Samarpan. Actually, when a devotee gets initiated, he or she should actually surrender to the Guru. Surrender means Sarvadharman Parityaja. When that happens, actually, Krishna treats that jiva, that's devotee, similar to himself. Krishna kare tare sama. Krishna looks at them similar to himself, which means that he's given us a transcendental position, right? So it's the exalted state. Exalted state. In that state, there can't be any reasons for our karma phala and all causing reasons. Cannot be the reasons for our suffering. That is why we keep harping on, this surrender. Surrender to Krishna means surrender to Guru, follow instructions. I mean, because if you do this simply, it is the path to success. It is the path to Shubha. Auspiciousness automatically manifests when we do this. But if we are having namesake, I call this a little bit rude. Many people get upset, right? But just keep pushing, 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 pushing. Initiate, get initiated, get initiated. Don't do that. You're just putting that for the jiva in a very, very, big predicament, right? Like that person, that jiva should actually have surrendered at that time. Now he or she just loses all the benefit of suffering, of initiation, because we just push somebody who was not ready for it. It's a disservice we are doing to that jiva by pushing somebody to get initiated even though they are not ready for it. Let's be with them, patiently help them, handhold them, and then why put pressure? I know so many devotees who are taking initiation because of pressure. I don't know if I'm going to get initiated or not, so I will take it today. This is not the approach. This is not the approach. Because if we don't surrender at that time, when will we surrender? When are we going to surrender? What other situation or circumstance will get created for us to surrender? Then Krishna will put us through those situations. He will create those situations for us where we will get into so much distress, like water is over our heads. Then we will finally, after many, many years, maybe then decide, okay, no, it's high time now. Let me fully surrender. That's a result of just not being fully prepared, conscious at the time of initiation. But if you're actually fully conscious at the time of initiation, we can save so many years. And this is a matter of training. It's a matter of responsibility of those devotees who are preaching, who are bringing devotees to the stage of initiation. It's a very, very, that's why these things shouldn't be taken very lightly. These are very serious things. Because that progress takes so much more time after that. It just takes so much more time. Okay. Is that okay? Okay, anything else? Anybody? Otherwise, we can conclude. We can. Stages of advancement is bhakti. So this is the main topic of this book. So we will read that tomorrow, Krishna willing. That okay? Okay, no response means okay. Okay, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Dhanvat Prabhu.